All right, from the top.
From the top, Valentine. Perhaps a little shorter, but up to you.
Okay, so for a day in the life of Valentine is easy. I wake up, spend an hour getting dressed in this fancy attire, gather my cards, get my coffee, whatever I can have for breakfast, and then on the way, pretty much just bother everybody until somebody plays with me.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right. And oh, right. If there was no volume, something something pilot episode of Last World. Thank you all for coming. And we decided that on this random day it will be Thursday for our survivors because they wanted to know the exact day because some of them have very specific schedules. So, Atlas, about your Thursdays, how do those go? Because we want to know how everyone's day goes before the campaign officially starts.
All right. So every Thursday, Atlas wakes up. He has his daily morning breakfast of dried cereal and milk on the side. He then looks up the weather, looks up at his calendar, sees it's finally Thursday, so he can finally go see his one of many appointments. By noon, he probably goes for lunch in his favorite spot, the middle of nowhere in the forest, and then gradually walk by his mom's grave before going back home.
Gotcha, gotcha. So his mom has passed away. All right, Elise. How does your day go?
Well, on a Thursday, so Elise will like be busy at work and she will be like busy with meetings the whole day, and she'll probably just do that throughout the day until nighttime. And then um at night, the moment she goes home, she probably just sleeps.
Very regimented. All right, Revi. How's your day go?
My days are filled with lots of studying, even waking up in the morning right to studying. And then I prepare a meal to bring to a nearby orphanage and feed the orphans to give them something good and play with them.
Oh,
And then I go back home to study and till I go to bed.
I
That's
see.
about it.
I see. If only you were born a little earlier, maybe you could have fed poor Atlas.
True.
All right, and Isaac, what are your days like?
So on a Thursday morning, I open the shop a little bit later in the day, so I go for a long walk and take Hottie to the park. We hang out there by the river for a while before we head to the shop, and then we are open until about nightfall. And we go home like a regular old day as long as nothing crazy happens.
Gotcha. And you all live in the suburb area of School Island, with the exception of Revi, correct? Revi, you live in the college dormitories in the city?
Yes, I do.
Gotcha. And Atlas and Elise, we've been over this, but you live on the outskirts of the suburbs, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, on a weekend, yeah.
On the
I
weekend, yep.
just live in a box.
So, you guys go about your normal lives. Days pass, we find ourselves on a Saturday, and as you all know, you all have mementos. Not all of you know quite who the memento is from. In fact, I don't believe any of you actually know who the memento is from, even if you know a little more than others. But this memento, this digivice, it's kind of like a safety blanket for you. Like, even though you all have an aversion to Digimon for whatever reason, it's just, a very basic franchise. This digivice brings you comfort. So you all hold on to it. Valentine and Atlas, I know that you two said that you have it on your person, but where do the others keep their digivice, Elise?
I'll probably carry it around with me secretly inside one of my pockets, like my inside my blazer maybe. And I'll probably touch it whenever I feel nervous during meetings or at work. So yeah, but at home I'll probably have it with me along with my phone.
Gotcha. Oh, there we go. Get some music. And, oh, let's stop that music for a second. And Revi, where do you keep your Digivice?
I keep it around my neck as a necklace. It's usually hidden under my clothing, so
Gotcha. And Isaac?
Well, it is my tie clip, so it's right there on my collar.
That's fair. So just where it shows on your little character image. There we go. We got that done. So let's play that music again.
This time I won't get jump scared by the bot of music.
Actually, we may as well skip that music and go straight on to some other music. So, these Digivices. Um. Now, over the years, like, you don't really use them, and as far as you can tell, they've all died. However, out of nowhere, they start flashing and beeping. I assume everyone checks their Digivice. Is there anyone who doesn't check their Digivice when it's going off? No one?
I definitely would check it. I'd be like, what
Atlas
is
would
this? I
probably
thought it
get
was
scared.
dead. Atlas chunks it.
Pretty much.
Only time
He'd
that
be
I
like,
won't the only time that I won't check it probably is when I'm in a meeting.
Atlas would probably like chuck it when he sees like he hears sounds or he sees a light. Not like baseball throw. He would be just like and chuck it like a few inches away.
Gotcha. Um, would you be in a meeting on a Saturday, Elise?
Well, sometimes, yeah, if there's an emergency. So
And Revi and Isaac, are there moments on a Saturday where you wouldn't check the Digivice?
Probably not. No, I'm probably gonna jump when that thing starts beeping because my chest is screaming at me.
um, so yes, for those of you that check it, you actually see words panning across the screen that says mission failed, world terminating.
RTB for resupply?
There's nothing about
Simulation?
resupplying the batteries, although that might be an indicator that it's time. Although it's been a while, so they should be dead. But you never know. Sometimes those Tamagotchis just start going off on you. And for those of you who didn't check, as well as those of you who did, after the message pans across the screen, a timer actually ends up appearing on them. It's for roughly like a bit over 170 hours or a week from now. Now, how do you all react? Not necessarily in the moment, unless there's a reaction in the moment, but just over the next week, do any of you make changes based off of this timer, or do you just kind of like set it aside as a broken toy?
I would use it like a GPS. So I'd walk around holding it. I was like, "Ooh, is it this way? Was it that way? What is this? It's fascinating."
Yeah, Atlas would probably just like leave it at home, but like in a way that he could still see it anywhere he is. So like he's too scared of bringing it around because he doesn't want to get like attention. So he'll just leave it at home. When he comes back, he'll look at the time, see if it went down or up, whatnot, and then he'll log it.
Gotcha. Um, Elise?
If it's gonna be too loud, she's probably gonna leave it at home so it won't disrupt her work.
Right. The beeping is actually stopped. The only thing left is the timer, and no matter what you press on the um Digivice, the timer doesn't really shift, nothing, it doesn't go away. It's just there.
Okay, so she probably bring it, but she'll try to play with it to see if there's anything else that will appear on screen, or like if there is an indication of what this means, something like that.
Gotcha. Ravi?
I'd log the times and try to research what it was.
Alright. And Isaac.
I would just keep an eye on the clock and see if anything changed.
So, that said, not much ends up happening, but eventually we approach when the time is about to strike. It's nighttime, and the timer seems like it would hit in the middle of the night. I don't know who would stay up for the timer, if anybody.
Valentine would.
Atlas would, because he's
Revy
just
would.
scared to see what would happen.
Valentine and Atlas, so you two are staying up. Elise, are you going to bed, going to sleep? It is probably about 1 or 2 in the morning.
Yeah, I'll probably be asleep at that time.
Gotcha. And Ravi, what would you be doing around that time?
I'd be awake waiting to see what happens.
Gotcha. And Isaac?
Yeah, I would have just gotten up having set an alarm for a little bit before the timer.
I see. So, we'll start with you, Valentine. And this is where I start dragging you out one at a time. Boop, boop, boop.
Dragging
Don't-
us out to the meat slaughter.
Don't worry, everyone. Me and Valentine will be back. Whoop. Whoop.
Hello.
Oh, I see. It works like that. That's interesting.
So it focuses on the stream session.
Oh, it's fine. This was just a suggestion anyway. Never mind, we won't be doing that. Alright, so, Valentine, we are starting with you. Now, you're staying up. Are all of your lights and whatnot on?
Valentine would have like a lamp on his desk that he practices cards on. He's got all of his different decks out. He's shuffling. He's watching the timer. He's playing around. He's like, what is going on? This card looks like this, but this thing and that. And he's just like full conspiracy theorist.
Gotcha. Now, you have a small lamp, so you'd say that your room isn't that well lit. There might be, shadows in certain parts of the room.
Yeah, I wouldn't have the overhead light on. Just my lamp right now.
Gotcha. So, you start hearing what sounds like a small whisper as the timer hits, but you're fairly busy. You're fairly busy being distracted with your cards, correct?
Oh yes, I'm fascinated about them. I hear whispering and I'm like, oh, it's just my inner thought process.
Yes, the whispering slowly gets louder, and you hear hell. But
No,
do you
this is my room, not hell.
do you continue to believe it's your inner thought process?
Once I hear someone saying that, Valentine would kind of like grab, his cards and he would just kind of slowly turn and look. He'd be like, did I accidentally fall asleep?
And as you look, the light in your room actually shatters,
My
and
eyes!
and only the moonlight still exists in your room. Ba-ba-ba.
That looks like I'm gonna have to call maintenance.
And slowly the hell gets louder, and it seems to be coming from a corner of your room. And from the darkness, you see what looks like a small tendril raising up from the shadow. And more tendrils begin to appear as they start to crawl up the wall and onto the ceiling.
Valentine's eyes just slowly watch as this happens, and he's just like, I'm not a schoolgirl. Are you saying help or hell? Or hello? I'm Valentine.
And as
He'll
you
smile
ask,
and wave.
the tendrils crawl up to the roof, well, the ceiling of your room, and you see a large, well, a fairly large body. And the creature almost looks like a spider, and with a response of hello, hello. And it begins to slowly move closer to your bed.
Well, hello. Wait, you look like a card. Hold on, I'll start scrambling through my cards and try to find one that looks like it.
And
He thinks this is a dream. He does not think this is real.
that's fair. And much like dreams, sometimes, there's emotions that you can't help but feel. And I'm not saying that this is one of them just yet, but as it looms over you, its head begins to come down towards yours with a hello. And you see its very doll-like mask that seems shattered and almost dripping a blue substance. And its mouth begins to open, and as it does, you feel this dark dread, like you see this black swirling mass inside of its mouth that just evokes the most unpleasant feeling.
I would definitely then scramble away from it. Ah, you're not here for me. You must have the wrong Valentine.
So we'll come back to that. Now we come to Atlas. You are closely examining that digivice of yours as the timer counts down to 0 in your room, right?
That is correct.
Yes.
The choice is on a desk. He's staring at it intently, but mortified of what's gonna happen.
So not quite in your bed on the loft.
Oh no, he's on his bed. He's sitting on it, just staring at the desk.
Gotcha. So if I recall correctly, though, you have one of those bunk style apartments, correct? Where your bed is raised.
Yeah, but he currently has everything on the main floor, so the bunk part of where he can sleep is basically just empty.
Oh, I see. So, as you're staring at it, you start to hear noises come from the kitchen as if, a small creature has gotten into your kitchen.
Atlas yelps and then try to peek through to the kitchen from his bed without getting out.
And as the timer reaches 0, you begin to hear your own voice. Well, not quite your own voice, but more voices coming from your your room where you normally eat from the table, and it's a voice you recognize quite well. It's your father saying, "I didn't do it. It wasn't my fault." And I assume you quickly look over to the table?
Yep. He's a little scared of the fact that his father's here, but he'll still look, see why his father's here.
So, from the table, you just see a very shadowy, individual. You do recognize it as your father. However, there's not quite any features associated with him.
Okay. So,
And
like,
you,
basically just see a shadow.
yes, is your room lit up or is it dark?
It's dark, and if like there's a few like light source coming out around. Like most of the kitchen is dark.
Right. So it sounds like it wouldn't be too out of place for him to be a shadowy figure. As in, it might be hard to pick up features in a poorly lit room anyway. So,
Yeah, but
so how is Atlas handling his father, who, as as we sort of got a picture of earlier, may have killed his mother, complaining in his apartment.
I mean, he would basically just go like, "You did it. I saw you do it. Why are you denying it?"
And
Like,
and your screams don't really seem to faze him as he continues to drink more and complain more about his life and how he never did anything wrong.
Atlas will get a little more scared because most of his dad's anger was relying on the bottle. So seeing him drink is scaring him a little bit more. But since he's alone, he's afraid that he might not make it. So he's just gonna hide on his bed, waiting for it to go away.
I see. So, with Atlas hiding, his father soon begins to stand up and throws the bottle against the wall. The very shadowy bottle that doesn't seem to break apart as it lands. And he begins to move to the foot of Atlas's bed, which would be most certainly between Atlas and the door. Now, Elise, you actually wake up to your room getting much colder.
I probably try to check the air conditioning first.
So, as you do, the air conditioning seems to be working fine. However, it does note that the temperature within the house is much colder than what it's set to. And
I'll turn it off.
what was that?
I'll probably turn it off.
Forgot to pay the heating bill. Um, so as you turn it off, it would help, but afterwards, do you try to head back to bed and get warmer, or what's the plan? It's pretty cold by now.
I'll probably check the windows if it's open or something.
So, as you head to the windows and try to lift them up, you actually notice that frozen. They're frozen shut, and the temperature is quickly dropping.
Mm, If that's happening, I'll probably try to check if I can turn on the heater.
And just to be clear, did you say that you were at your parents' mansion slash
If
house?
it's on the weekend, yeah.
Yes, it is most certainly on the weekend. So you're near the suburbs, but not quite in them. So they're there too, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So anyway, as you notice that the windows are frozen shut, what did you say your next
I'll
plan
probably
was?
try to check if I can turn on the heater.
Like a space heater or
Yeah, a space heater.
yes, you most certainly can for a little bit, although it doesn't seem to do much. However, it does keep your hands warm. But the
Mm,
temperature is still dropping.
okay, so if that's happening, I guess I'll try to see if I'll try to check if um I'll first try to check the time and then I'll try to go out of my room to see if anybody is awake.
Well, the time will be roughly about 2 a.m.
Okay, so I'll try to see if any of the maids are up.
Gotcha. So, you'd head to the maid's quarters, or you'd just look around to find one?
Look around outside my room to find one.
You do find a maid about to knock on your parents' door.
I will probably try to approach her and ask what's wrong, like what's happening.
She doesn't seem to even acknowledge your existence. However, she also doesn't seem willing to knock on your parents' door. Rather, she's just stood there for a while.
I'll probably be suspicious and ask, "Hey, what are you doing there?"
Still nothing. Although, as your eyes adjust to the darkness, you do notice that there is a little bit of ice buildup on her skin.
If I see that, I'll probably try to approach her to check on her if she's okay. Like, and then I'll probably look around, like, to see what might have caused this.
Um, yes, you actually notice that most of the chill is actually coming from your parents' room.
I'll probably try to look for something like a cloth, or if I don't have one, I'll probably use my current clothing and then try to turn on the knob, like to open the door.
Um, okay, I know it's not the best, but. Do do do. I'll take a. What is it? Body feats of strength roll from you?
First roll of the day.
Dun dun dun.
Oh, wait, I see that. I see that the roll sections give a little bit more information than what I was thinking they did. Do do. I suppose I can do something about that. It's actually not bad. A 15. So, as you. Valentine. Could you change your nickname? That said, um, as you turn the knob, it does take a bit of force, but you do burst into your parents' room. And as you do, a wave of freezing cold air hits, and you see a tiny blue gremlin looking beast with sharp claws standing above your parents' bed.
I'll probably try to look around to see if I can use something to hit it, like probably a chair or something.
If you'd like to approach it, you certainly do see a chair in your parents' room.
Okay, so I'll grab it and slowly walk towards it to see where it is looking at.
Gotcha. Alright. So, ba. There we go. So, Elise, one more time, give me a pure body roll.
Okay.
Do-do-do. Not bad, but not great. We will take a moment to skip past Revi and come back to her. Isaac, now, what are you doing at the moment in your house?
I am currently working on making some coffee.
You're making some coffee at 2 in the morning.
Gotta stay awake somehow.
Gotcha. So you're not actually in your room. You'd be in, like, your kitchen, correct?
You got it.
Thanks, by the way. My bad.
Bup. So, would you say that you have the lights on?
The kitchen light, yes. The rest of the apartment's probably dark, so the halls probably aren't the best lit.
Yeah, that's fair. Now, as you're making coffee, where is Hati? Is he with you, or is he in bed?
He's probably curled up in his bed.
Gotcha. You do begin to hear what sounds like children giggling in your house. I suppose if you're not laying down for bed, it's not the most terrifying of sounds, but it is kind of awkward.
Yeah, I would pause and listen to make sure I'm not hearing things.
Yes, you most certainly... Well, I mean, you very well could be hearing things, but it does continue. And if you look towards the source of the giggling in the hallway, you do see a faint red glow that does disappear fairly quickly.
Yeah, I'm going to pull a knife from the kitchen block and approach slowly.
Now, the giggling, continues down the hallway, and as you enter the hallway, you see it slowly vanish into the, living room. And you also hear Howdy get up and begin to growl. Would he be in the living room or your room?
My room.
Yes. So you do see him begin to dart out of your room towards the living room.
Hottie, hold.
He momentarily pauses.
I'm gonna creep up next to him and peer into the living room.
You see the faint glow and the sound of laughter coming from under a small object, we'll say a table. You can't really make anything out, but it is a pretty bright glow.
We are going to reach through the doorway, well, entryway, and flip on the living room lights, holding the knife forward.
I see. As you do that, you actually see a lot less, surprisingly.
I think we're gonna have a cliche horror movie lights on, lights off moment.
So, as you turn the lights on, it temporarily blinds you, and you hear Hottie bark. And by the time you turn the lights back off and your eyes adjust, that glow you saw is actually much closer to you.
I will flourish my knife and shout at it. What are you doing in here?
And this glowing ball actually ends up ignoring you and going straight into Hottie's mouth.
Yeah, I will probably fall back a little bit, very confused and staring.
And at first, well, it's 2 a.m. You're fairly awake, so, I mean, it's not likely this is a dream, but I suppose it could be, but everything seems to be normal? But we'll come back to that. Valentine. Well, hold on. Boop, 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 boop. So, Revy.
Hello.
Yes. Now, where are you exactly? It's roughly 2 a.m. I know you're paying attention to this countdown.
I'd be in my dorm room, just sitting on my bed waiting.
Would you have your lights off, or would they be on?
I would have the lights off, but I do have a lamp on.
Gotcha. So you actually end up hearing a voice, and now any other time you wouldn't be able to recall this voice as this person has left your memory. But as you hear the words, "Why didn't you save me?" you end up instinctively knowing that this was a sibling of yours, your older brother, actually.
I
And
would think it was just my imagination.
That's fair, but it's coming from the closet and it keeps echoing, "Why didn't you save me?" And the lights in your dorm room begin to flicker.
There's no time to be afraid, so I'll run to the door and open it.
To the closet door?
Correct.
I see. So, as you open the door, the lights in your dorm room end up turning off completely, but you make out the figure of your older sibling hanging in the closet, staring at you, asking why you didn't save them.
I would freeze. That's pretty horrifying.
And for a moment, they would reach out and grab you and ask, yelling, why you didn't save them. But quickly, their hands would retract and the closet door would slam shut.
I would try to open the door to see.
All right. So, actually, in this case, roll for me willpower bravery.
Okay. So I just rolled 3 dice, right?
Yep, 3d6, and you'll add your willpower and bravery to the roll.
So put the numbers together. Sorry, I'm just making sure I don't get anything wrong.
Yep.
Okay.
Boop, boop, boop. Wow, yeah, you slammed that door open. Yes. So, as you just yank the door back open without any hesitation. Oh no, Atlas. That's fine. He can. Oh, he's back. So, as you yank the door open without any hesitation, you actually see your brother spinning while hanging, and as he spins, he's slowly changing as darkness begins to cover his body and change to leather, and horns begin to grow out of his head.
I would slam the door closed and make my way out of there. I'm not dealing with that.
that's that's a fair reaction. So, Valentine, you are currently trying to make your way out of your room. However, you most certainly let this slinky, oozing creature get very close to you as its tendril-like limbs begin to block your path to the exit. And it just scream. Well, it's not quite screaming, but it's echoing hello at you as its mouth opens and goes to take a bite.
Hello, you have the wrong Valentine's room. I'm just gonna, if you don't mind, and I'm just gonna since it's blocking my way to the exit,
The
it's
door,
on top
yes.
of my bed, correct?
It was, however, the tendrils slinked in front of the doorway.
Okay, so I'm up against this table, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Let's see. I am going to. You know what? I am going to, take those cards I've been holding in my hands, and I'm gonna just start shuffling them real quick, and I'm just gonna make them explode in its face to distract it while I basically go to the window. So I'm gonna, if it's blocking my exit door, I'm just gonna go to the window and make my way.
I see. With that, I'll actually allow. I'll allow for a perform check.
Hoping for. So are we allowed to stunt yet, or is that going to be later?
You could stunt, however, I will say if it was a stunt, I'd ask for a different roll.
Okay, well, just because I know stunting is like describing your action, but I will make
Right.
the perform check.
Oh, well, certainly never be afraid to describe your action.
So as I take up the cards, I've had a bunch in my hand. I was scurrying around, and seeing that this thing is blocking me and its eyes are kind of focused, I just kind of start shuffling real fast, and then, is this your card? Just let go in the space. And that's what I take off. Let's go, please. Yeah.
Well, that's not very bad at all. So you do manage to confuse it long enough to get to the window. And
To the wall.
And assumingly out, correct?
Oh yes, I'm going to nope on out of there.
I see, gotcha. All right, now we are back to Atlas.
Oh no.
Now the shadow has made its way to the foot of your bed as you decided to try to hide from it. And it begins approaching, and you hear Atlas. Atlas, is that you? It was all your fault. You killed your mother.
Alice will start to to shake a little bit from fear, and then he'll probably like just go like, "No, no, I got home, and she was dead. You killed her, not me."
And the shadow, which would continue to argue, be like, "It's all your fault." And as he screams at you, you see multiple eyes begin to rivet up the shadow and a giant maw coming out of its arm and reaching for you.
No, Atlas. Atlas will. It's still shaking, and then he'll just stare at the eyes, and he'll go, "I've dealt with you once. I could deal with you again." And he grabs like the nearest thing on his side of the bed and just chucks it at the shadow. And then he'll try to run to the door.
I see. Honestly, for a moment there, I thought he was going to try to grab the giant shadow mouth, but that's much better. Now, while seemingly futile, the digivice that was close to you actually does end up bursting with a strong light that almost seems to paralyze the shadow for a moment before cracking. Not into pieces, mind you, but cracking. Now, as you run out the door, do you take it with you or do you leave it?
Oh no, he didn't throw the digivice. Like
No,
he
no,
threw
no, no.
something.
Yes,
So like the digivice cracked when I threw the object, basically.
yes, as the shadow was coming to you and you threw an object at it, it was going to continue and was about to, well, do whatever it would do to you. However, the digivice protected you with the blinding light, allowing you to escape.
Yeah. So he would probably grab the digivice while running, but like unconsciously grab it. Like he doesn't
Gotcha.
know why he had to grab it. He just took it on his way out with all of his survival kit, and so that he's ready to go.
He'd, he'd grab a survival kit as the shadow is
Yeah,
trying to eat him?
well, like his backpack. He goes to the door. His backpack's already there.
Okay, that's fair. That's better than... Oh, there we go. That's fair. That's better than, searching around for a survival kit. But, anywho, Elise, are you with us, Elise?
Yeah, I was not able to hear it a while ago because I don't know, it went mute for some reason. But now I can hear and I can hear you guys.
Oh, okay,
Gotcha.
that's good.
Gotcha. So you've just missed a bunch of terror. That's fine. That's fine. You have your own to deal with. Now, as you approach the creature with the chair in hand, your body begins to slowly give out as you notice ice begin to form on your skin. However, are your eyes locked onto this creature, or are you looking around the room?
Mostly at the creature, but I will try to look around if there's like anything else around the room.
Well, there's certainly your parents in the bed that the creature is hovering over.
Hmm. Then definitely I'll just keep looking at it to see what it will do. Like, is it gonna kill my parents or something? And then if its eyes are focused on my parents, I'll try to do a sneak attack and hit it with a chair.
I see. Now, hmm. Yes, I'll take another feats of strength roll from you. The chat says, be sure to yell sneak attack.
Oh no.
Now, yes. As you approach the creature, ice begins to form on your limbs, and you see it not even necessarily paying attention to you as it lowers its mouth down to begin gnawing on your parents. Now, for a moment, you have a burst of energy as your Digivice releases a blinding light that removes the ice from you and pauses the creature's movements, allowing you to throw the chair. However, you don't have much strength and it is the middle of the night. Perhaps you are tired, but the chair kind of goes far enough to land on your toes.
um, how can I? I'll probably if I don't have that much strength, I'll just try to see if I can like walk forward and then try to get it off my parents, like push it away.
Well, the creature certainly does begin to ignore your parents when it hears the chair collapse to the floor. And as it moves on the bed towards you, the shaking does cause enough of a distraction for you to notice that one of your parents' heads just falls to the floor and shatters, completely made of ice by this point.
Elise will probably try to scream so loud, like freak out, like, "Oh my gosh, what just happened?" Like, "Oh my gosh, did they just die?" She'll be so freaking out, and then um, she'll probably um try to get the chair again just to have something to defend her with. But if she can see if the other, like, is it the mom's head or the dad's head though?
Um,
Both heads.
well, the one that would shatter will be, let's say, your father's head.
Um, Elise will try to check if her mother is still alive at least. Hopefully. So
Mm,
she will try to get closer.
she would try to get closer.
Just to, yeah, she will.
I see. I see. All right. So, Isaac.
Ooh, my turn.
Yes. Your dog, which, once again, everything seemed to go back to normal there for a minute. Did you go back to making your coffee?
Of course not. I'm inspecting my dog for, I don't know, death.
Well, that's a fair reaction. He seems fine at first. How long do you inspect your dog? Like a minute or 10 minutes?
I probably haven't left him yet, so, but I don't know, as far as active checking, 10 minutes, I guess.
Well, if you stayed with him for a while, yes, you certainly notice him to begin to act bizarre as he starts hopping, and you hear him start to yelp as your pooch begins to run around the room, wetting himself and yelping in pain, before flopping to the ground and flopping side to side.
I'm going to grab the nearest blanket or coat or whatever and try to scoop my dog up.
Gotcha. So, as you begin to scoop him up, you see him looking at you, and he clearly is looking at you lovingly, but he is in a lot of pain. And you begin to see black fumes coming out of his mouth. And, well, this is where things get a little more odd, I suppose, if the black fumes weren't enough. He begins to bark as his mouth begins to get sewn shut. At first, it's a pretty violent scene as he's yelping and barking, and the sewing rips his flesh. However, eventually he can't quite fight it, and his mouth gets completely sewn shut. Now, soon, well, whatever you're holding him in begins to get very, very hot. And you start to see the smoke billow out of his eyes. Now, as whatever you're holding gets very hot, do you drop it, or do you continue to hold him?
We yeeted this dog as soon as his mouth got sewn shut by the magic voodoo.
well, that's fair. And as the smoke billows out, soon you begin to hear creaking and cracking, and his bones begin to twist into different directions. And you see your dog stand up, but on his hind legs as his rib cage bursts forth and flames begin to envelop him.
I'm probably going to be scrambling backwards looking for that knife I had earlier.
Well, I mean, sure, you find the knife.
And we're going to continue to retreat while that knife is in our hand.
And as this flaming humanoid hottie fully stands up, he begins to approach you. And, well, it's not the most violent approach. After all, this was your dog.
And it's now a demon from hell.
So, as it approaches you, your house slowly gets lit on fire. What are you doing?
Leaving?
So you're running out the door?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a fair reaction. And Revy. When we last left you opened the closet door to your older brother, who has long since passed on, seemingly, being hung and turning into some demonic black leather demon creature. And you slammed the door shut, and you're now making your way to the exit of the room, correct?
Yes, I'm running out of there.
Now, would you look as the closet door slams back open and you hear loud banging on the walls?
Oh no, I'm running.
Fair reaction. Sure, give me an agility dodge roll. Actually, no, scratch that. Body athletics. Not bad. You end up bursting out of your room just as a very large claw ends up slamming against the doorway. So you do manage to successfully get out of there. However, you're now in your dorms, correct?
Correct.
I will take one more roll. This time I will take an agility dodge roll. So, you are booking it out of there as you hear this demonic-like creature or whatever it is. Actually, did you remember to grab your Digivice?
Of course, it's always on me.
Gotcha. So, you hear this demonic creature right at your heels as its hands are slamming against the two sides of the walls, dragging itself forward in the chase. Now, as you get to the exit of the dorm, you jump out. However, you're not quite fast enough to escape its claws as it grabs onto your ankle. However, once more, your Digivice releases a blinding light that stuns it, and you manage to successfully escape the dorms.
Nice, I'm making my way out of that place.
Now, Valentine, Atlas, and Isaac, you've all managed to successfully escape your first encounters, at least seemingly, and you're now outside. We'll start with you, Atlas. You are in a rundown apartment building by yourself, correct?
That is correct.
Now, it's run down and nobody lives there because it used to be a part of the suburbs. Now it's hard to access, so they eventually built new apartments, new places for people to live. But you are on a hill overlooking the rest of the suburbs. So, while you're alone and don't have to deal with people, you could interact with them if you so desired. Now, the shadowy creature hasn't quite given up. It is giving chase. Are you heading towards the suburbs, or are you heading towards the city? Or perhaps away from the island? What is it that you plan to do?
Atlas is gonna do the only thing that he knows what to do, and he's running towards the forest.
Towards the forest. Gotcha. Valentine. Now, this tendril monster isn't going to be stunned by your trick forever. You've escaped your house in suburbia. What is it that you plan on doing?
So, the thing was like a spider, it looked like, right? In my vision.
Yes, a very spidery creature.
So I don't want to run into a forest because that sucker can get me in a tree. So, Valentine would just start, he would take off running, but he would choose areas that are more wide open. So that way, if the thing is coming, he can see it or at least hear it better
Well-
than if it was like, in an alleyway where it could just be hiding on the roof.
Well, if it affects your decision at all, you do hear screams of terror coming from the streets. You hear screams everywhere.
Oh. Do I see people screaming or just hear people screaming?
Well, it depends. Are you close to the streets? Like, can you see them? Or are you perhaps behind your house?
Probably behind my house.
Well, then, for the most part, you just hear the screams.
Curse my jester aspect. So, because of the aspect I have chosen, I would have to head that way because I'd want to cheer them up.
Gotcha. And just to check, Isaac, you're much in the same boat with this flaming creature chasing you. However, I assume you've actually left through the front door? So, yes, you both actually end up with a view of the streets. You're probably not all that far from each other, to be honest. However, you see these very small imp-like creatures with tiny black wings and jaws honestly bigger than their entire bodies, touching the floor with giant fangs flying around. And they have these little spears and they're stabbing people, they're ripping their guts open. It's just quite a scene. Like it is a bloodbath in the streets, quite literally.
Is there anyone not dead yet?
Uh well, if you're gonna stand around to check, I suppose you could give me a willpower perception.
And we both see the same scene, correct?
Yes, you both see the same scene. Valentine, would you also be checking for, well, living people who aren't running for their lives?
Uh, I would. I would look for if there was somebody who's, maybe about to be attacked but hasn't, and try to help them, like, tackle them to help them out. Or just throw a card at the stupid flying Digimon and then get its attention to me and then take off running, because, yeah.
Gotcha. Valentine, I'll also get a perception check from you.
All right.
Mind you, if you're just looking for people that haven't been attacked yet, there are plenty of people who are, well, running around. But depending on your perception check, I'll let you know more.
How's a 21 do me?
Oh, well, you both only rolled 20 and 21. That's up now. That's pretty decent. So, yes, among the people, you do notice the cafe owner that sometimes you go to his cafe and he's just exited his house in a hurry for whatever reason. It probably has nothing to do with the demons killing everybody, but he's pretty shocked and staring around as well. And in the streets, I mean, there are people aplenty who haven't been attacked yet who are running for their lives being attacked. Mind you, Isaac, you notice much the same. You see the trickster peering out from around his house. He hasn't been killed just yet. And he seems to be hiding well enough, and you would recognize him because he showed you that game that just makes you sick to your stomach.
Oi, card kid, get over here.
Yeah. Actually, it'd probably be safer to come over here. You don't want to see what's in my house.
It would probably be safest if we run. It'd be better if we ran together.
Let's run together.
Now, you guys are having this conversation with... What is both of your plan? Just wondering. The streets behind the houses, in the houses, Isaac, a big flaming man is coming up behind you. Valentine, you have a tendril spider creature oozing blue juice everywhere coming up towards you.
Is it about to jump?
It might be.
Ooh. I have an idea! Whenever I get to you, dive out of the way! And I will just start taking off towards Isaac. My plan is to have the spider follow me. I'll even check a card and be like, hey, you! Weird thing. And then as he leaps, I'm going to jump to the side and Isaac jump the other way so it leaps onto the fiery demon from hell emerging from Isaac's house.
Isaac, how
Make them
trusting.
fight amongst themselves.
Isaac, how trusting are you?
Trusting enough, I suppose.
All right, I will allow both of you to give me an athletics check.
Would I be allowed to roll manipulate since I am trying to lead the spider into doing this?
No, because we can already suppose that your manipulation is successful, but successful or not.
Dodging, that's the issue.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
Of course Isaac has to roll low in that part. I'm sorry, Isaac.
We'll come back to that. All right. So, Elise. Now, last we knew, you were approaching your frozen parents as this creature began to stare at you, your body slowly turning to ice. Your Digivice did save you, however, you decided to stick around. Now, when you saw your father's head fall and whatnot, what was the last thing you decided to do?
Well, first of all, I panicked and I said, "Oh my gosh, what just happened? Did my dad just die?" And I was really panicking. And then the first thing that went into my head is to check if my mom is still alive. So that's why I went closer to see if
Right,
I
right.
can. Yeah.
So, Elise. Do 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 do. Your body slowly begins to get encased in ice, and, well, I know that the stream isn't going to notice as we disappear for a moment. However, I am going to drag you down to the other place for just a moment. Hello, Elise. Hello?
Yeah. Hello.
Yes. So, slowly, your body begins to get encased in ice, and the
Mhm.
world begins to turn black. And as everything seems to fade away, you begin to feel yourself falling. And as you fall, what might seem like metaphorically, you look up and you see the world above you,
Mhm.
and it begins to get smaller and smaller until you see what looks like a circuit grid before you are encompassed in darkness. Now,
Okay.
now what does this all mean? Well, we'll get to that soon enough. Now I'll drag you back to the main session.
Okay.
Oop,
Welcome back.
doo doo doo. Oh, all right. So, Revi, you managed to escape, and you are in the city, correct?
Correct.
Now, question, most of you have your digivices. However, did any of you take your phones with you?
My cards are more important.
Of course, you need it.
Atlas probably threw his phone at the shadow. Like he just grabbed. That's probably what he threw.
Just a crazy guy in the streets with a knife.
So nobody has their phone?
I do.
Oh, Revi. Okay, so
Atlas has a backup phone.
now when you say backup phone, do you mean like a burner or like an actual phone?
I mean, it's a flip phone, but it's a backup phone in case his first phone doesn't work or he loses it. So
Good enough, I suppose. So, Atlas and Revi, you both hear sirens of sorts going off from your phones. And, well, as you know, I am an AI and humanities companion in the last world. You hear my voice letting you know that School Island is under an unprecedented attack. And seemingly this message would have gone out to everybody. Well, at least you'd think, hopefully. And, Revi, you hear my voice telling you to quickly get to the location listed on your map.
I have to check on the orphans to see if they're okay first.
I see, I see. So, now, in the streets, you experience quite the sight. You see, well, I suppose the best way to put it would be like a grim fairy tale. You see everything dark and macabre wandering the streets. So, how do you get to the orphanage?
I would just run as fast as I can.
All right. Once more, I'll take a body athletics roll from you. Well, that's not very nice, Atlas. We don't know if she's dead. But anyway, Ravi. Ah, not bad, not bad. Yes, you seem to be blowing past all of these demons. You do draw their attention every here and there. However, they're busy killing many people, so while some of them reach out towards you, they don't necessarily get you. There is one chasing you from earlier. However, even he's seemed to stop. Perhaps he's taking a smoke break, or he's killing your roommates. Whatever. Now, oh, did the music run out?
Yeah, the bot was like, nah.
We were just so absorbed in death and destruction we didn't notice.
I noticed it, I just didn't say anything.
Shh, Atlas, we didn't notice. So, as you arrive at the orphanage, you notice that it's on fire.
Oh my.
Do you try to break down the door and save the kids from the burning abyss?
Yes.
All right. Boop, boop, boop. So, give me a feats of strength roll. You bash and you bash and, well, you start to get a little charred, but you do eventually break into the orphanage. You see the would-be caretakers not far from the door. They're burning. Not quite alive anymore.
I'll just keep running. I have to check on the kids.
I see. So, as you go to check on the kids, well, many have not quite made it. However, you do find a small girl who has managed to stay alive and is running from a rather large, melting rock-like creature.
I'll grab the fire extinguisher and throw it at the beast.
As contact is made, I'll say this works out. As contact is made, the fire extinguisher explodes, buying you a moment. What do you do?
I'll grab the girl and turn around and try to get out of there. Pick her up.
All right. So, I will say that you did make it out of the orphanage. However, for future notice, give me an endurance check. Was that your endurance check?
Yes.
Oh.
That's
All
rough,
right.
buddy.
Well, we'll come back to what that means. So, Atlas, you also get the notification to head to the specified point. Sadly, well, you have a flip phone, so, you can't really see it, Do you decide to have a phone conversation with an AI as you run for the woods, or do you just accept that the island is under attack and that there is somewhere you're supposed to go to, maybe?
Well, Atlas probably got like coordinates pinged onto his phone instead of having like a map icon.
Hmm.
So he just pulls out like a map out of his bag and uses the coordinates to find the location.
I see. You are running for your life, looking at your phone, and pulling out a map. I see. All right. Then what I'll take for all of that is. Give me an athletics roll followed by an endurance roll. Well, for being the quiet bookworm, you sure are athletic. You.
I mean, it's the bag.
It's all the bag, all the training Atlas would ever need. So, yes, you actually managed to do a lot of fumbling while being chased. This must be one of those slow walk killers. That or your Usain Bolt. Either way, you do manage to find out where you're supposed to go, but before you do, you wind up in the forest because, well, that's what you know. That's where you know. And as you make your way into the forest, while doing all of this, I'll give you a much, much harder check, which is simply give me a perception check. Oh, right. I remember. This is a much harder check, isn't it? Rolling better than some people who actually have adequate perception. Still, 15 isn't great. It's just much better than it could have been. So, as you make your way into the woods, at first, you're going in unaware, doing your own thing, but it doesn't take you too long to start hearing the voice of the woods. A very mournful female voice asking why. Why won't they look at me? Why won't anybody look at me? Why? Now, you hear this voice echoing around the woods, coming from nowhere in particular. What is your plan? You also now have coordinates located somewhere in the city. Actually, with your map, you are able to identify it, but we'll come back to that in a moment.
Okay. So, with the noise coming around Atlas in the forest, he just stops and try to locate exactly where the voice is coming from, to which he does not know,
Mm-hmm.
and he'll just book it to the city because he's like, okay, if the forest has something going on, I'll move towards the city and maybe it'll go away. Because the forest was his safe zone. If there's something going on there, he has to go outside of his safe zone.
Well, I mean, for what it's worth, this sounds like a very mournful woman. It's not necessarily scary.
Yes, but it's Atlas.
That's
He
fair. So you are directly heading back outside of the forest, the way you came, or a slightly different path?
He's going a slightly different path. He'll still stay in the forest. He'll just like run a different path towards like the nearest like destination point that he knows outside of the forest that will lead into the city.
I
That will
see.
lead him to the destination of marked on the map.
So, due to a lake, the best Atlas has to avoid whatever sinister shadow was creeping towards him originally leads him towards the suburbs, actually, at the base of the hill that he was on. And as he approaches, he too can see the creatures killing everybody in the streets, but I suppose he'd want to take a back road? Well, rather stay behind the houses.
Yeah, he's basically gonna try and stay as far from the suburbs by like taking like the dark alleys in between like the suburb areas and in between houses, just like trying to avoid as much of the public as possible.
Gotcha. And Isaac and Valentine. Now, as we know with you two, you led a creature towards Isaac to attack his creature. My curse must fight your curse. The Grudge versus the Ring. It's an actual movie.
You battle!
But, anyway. Valentine, unfortunately, as Isaac begins to dodge, he ends up tripping on his feet and kind of grabbing you for balance. This leads the monsters to kind of sandwich you two. Quite an unfortunate incident. However, luckily for both of you, you are the last ones to have your digivices intact. Well, I don't know if that's quite fortunate or not, but the blinding light does prevent you from burning to death as this flaming human engulfs you in this spider creature. It is very spidery. Now, these blinding lights of yours do end up knocking the creatures away and pausing them momentarily. Now, I know you two want to run, but where do you run to? Do you also try to take the back alleys, or do you try to take the streets and just avoid these flying demons as much as possible?
My plan didn't work. I'll follow you.
I'm probably just gonna bolt straight down the street in whatever direction I'm facing.
Ooh. Okay, I won't follow him. Because my running is a lot worse than his. Actually, you know what? Let's run. We'll run together.
Okay, so you guys are going to take the streets and contend with the little bat creatures. Now, Revy, we'll come back to... Well, before that, where are you two running towards? You don't have your phone, so you don't know about this location.
Survival.
Well, so there's people that have just died around us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Likely their phones were dropped.
Do you plan on picking up strangers' phones in the middle of all this chaos?
If the phone is beeping and saying go to this, then I would take a peek as we're running.
I
Because
see.
if the phone gives us some sort of help, then might as well.
Well, strangest thing, their phones aren't beeping. I wonder why.
Well, we'll just run then.
However, being the helpful AI companion that I am, a phone does begin to beep as you run, not far from your path at all.
I will grab it.
Oh, Valentine. Well, it's almost as if you forgot to take your phone with you.
Cards are more important.
I suppose they are. Anyway, you're with Isaac, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad that you know his name. Anyway, you need to head to these coordinates.
All right, I will run back over to Isaac and I'll be like, "Look, Asteroth is sending us a location we should go to."
Now, Isaac, you'd actually recognize this location. You'd actually recognize it quite well. For you see, this
What is it?
location would be your very own cafe.
Well, that's kind of surprising. I guess we're going out for coffee.
We might need it to get, juiced up.
Gotta go fast.
Now, Revi, last we known, you've broken into an orphanage. You know to go to this cafe. You've actually been to the cafe, so it wouldn't be that hard for you to figure out where it is. However, you decided to carry a little girl with you, and, well, it's gotten quite exhausting. You are very beat, and adrenaline can only take you so far.
I would place her down and grab her hand and try to pull her with me.
I see. Knowing that you're exhausted and, well, the little girl is traumatized, you see a very large creature with hands like dogs coming at you, running at you on, well, on two legs, bipedal actually.
I would tell the little girl to run in a random direction, and I'll scream at the beast so that way it pays attention to me, and I'll try to run by it.
Oh, you're attempting to actually run past this creature.
Yeah, hopefully it follows me.
Alright, then give me a body athletics check. Not bad, not bad. Unfortunately, you're also very tired. And due to this, the creature actually does manage to bite your leg. However, when the girl screams seeing this, the creature turns his attention and begins to chase the girl instead. Your leg is simply injured now, and the creature is leaving you be. What are your plans? To head towards the cafe, or are you going to help this small child?
I don't see any way to actually help the child. I'm powerless. So I would turn to the cafe
I see.
and head that way.
With a limp, you do make your way towards the cafe. Whether you arrive or not, we'll find out later. Atlas. So, last we knew, you were heading out of the forest and into the suburbs, correct? Taking back alleys and whatnot?
That is correct.
So, as you do, you end up going through somebody's yard, and in the next yard over, there's a small fence, and, well, you see children playing with a puppet.
What kind of puppet?
Well, it has a very large nose, so I suppose the closest thing you could compare it to is Pinocchio, and the children seem to be having a grand old time, but, well, you asked what kind of puppet, so I suppose you're paying attention. Would you like to make a perception check? Oh, a puppet.
Who's making the perception check?
Atlas was making the perception check,
Get it, Atlas.
and I mean, it could be much worse. And you did roll well enough to see that most of these children are missing limbs, actually. They're all playing and having a good time, except for one. One seems to be not having a great time at all. And you hear him chatting with the children. Oh, look at Jimmy. Why are you so sad, Jimmy? And you see a man run up to this scene. Now, Atlas, what are you doing? Are you paying attention to this pretty mortifying scene? There is a child that does seem to be alive here, but or are you continuing on your way?
Atlas will continue on his way after, because he's seeing just a talking puppet, kids with missing limbs, and they're targeting to a sad kid. So he's just moving on because he doesn't want to get involved in that.
I see. So as you move along, you do hear part of this scene play out. You hear a man's voice pleading the puppet to please give his son back to him. And then you hear a loud, silencing bang before hearing the puppet gleefully yelling, "Everyone, look at Timmy! He's crying because his dad's dead. Everyone point and laugh at Timmy." And slowly the sounds fade into the distance. Now, as you continue along, though, you do notice something obscuring your path, Atlas. A very large, metallic creature. It's actually so big that it seems hard to continue along the back roads at all. Whether this creature has noticed you or not, well, it's hard to say. But it's so big that you can hope that it hasn't.
So is Atlas seeing that, he'll just try to recalculate his route quickly and then move on with a different route.
Gotcha. So you actually end up having to head to the main streets a bit. You do see the little imp-like creatures with wings and spears as they are stabbing and mauling people, but you're trying to stay as close to the houses and away from the limelight as you can. Now, I'll actually take rolls. Well, Atlas, as you do this, I'll ask, do you want to be stealthy as you see Valentine and Isaac booking it down the street, running as fast as they can?
Atlas will try to stealthily do it so that he doesn't affect attraction from people, but he'll still try to do it as quickly as possible.
Right. But what I mean is, do you want to stay stealthful and by yourself, or do you try to run along with these two?
Oh, Atlas is still doing it by himself.
That is a very fair approach, especially from Atlas. Okay. So, Atlas, give me an agility stealth roll. And on that note, I will take a body athletics from both Isaac and Valentine.
Aye, Captain.
And while you two are booking it, you both see this very large creature, which seems to have smashed a couple houses with its feet. And if you take the time to look at it, you see very large, what looks like airplane engines on its back beginning to rev up. those rolls. Alright, so, yes. You two notice that it seems to be aiming down the street towards the way you're headed. However, it's not moving. Its turbines are just beginning to rev up. Do you continue on your way, you two?
And this is an airplane-ish thing?
No. So it's a large... I guess the best way to consider it would be like a Megazord. It definitely looks like one of the cards you own. However, it's kind of like, one of those fairs where the T-Rex climbs over the... No, that's actually something else. What we're going for here is a very metallic robot dragon T-Rex thing. However, on its back...
Megatron.
Yes. However, on its back are essentially air turbines. And they are revving up.
We need to go that direction, but I'll like lean over to Isaac and be like, we might want to avoid his eyesight, line of sight, whatever it is.
Agreed.
So you two take a detour. Atlas is sticking closest to the house and trying to be stealthful, although somewhat poorly. You can't really get an eye for this creature. You don't see much of it. You just know that you're close to it, but are you gonna like try to get away from the creature and cross the street to where... You're between a rock and a hard place. The street is filled with demons killing people. You're pretty close to a big metallic creature, but you don't know much about it. You can't see a lot of it.
Yeah, well, Atlas is basically just trying to go to the destination given to him. So he will probably try and do as quietly as possible trying to reach that destination. So if he has to go through the demons, he'll have to go through the demons. But he'll try and do it like away from them in a way.
Gotcha. So, Atlas... I'll take this from Valentine and Isaac's perspective for now. You two see the turbines pause for a moment and begin to glow a very bright color before the creature ends up bending over. And then you see a very, very powerful shockwave come from it as... well, what could only be described as a science fiction laser beam saws through houses and people, and you notice that, honestly, even the people who weren't directly in its path begin to be lit on fire, although anything in its path is simply gone at this point.
Oh, I know this card. Oh wait, that's bad.
And, Atlas, I'm going to borrow you for a moment. Boop, 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 boop. Doop. Hello, Atlas. Hello, Atlas. Are you there? Atlas? Are you with us? I doubt it's from the server. Atlas, we're going to rejoin the main group, but let me know when you're back.
Welcome back.
Atlas, I suppose your mic isn't working now? Okay, Atlas, once you figure out why your mic isn't working, let me know. But
Before he got dragged, he did start talking, so I don't know why it suddenly stopped working.
fair. Well, I suppose all he needs to do.
I expect you to
Ah,
die.
there
Oh.
you go, Atlas. Okay, now you're coming with me. Atlas? Okay, Atlas, I suppose all you need to do is listen, so. Atlas?
Hello.
Well, there you go. That's okay.
When you transfer me, I get disconnected, but don't. It doesn't work.
Odd. Well, anyway, you experienced what would be considered a very painful death if, well, it's hard to say whether you died or not, because as you are moving along, you just suddenly feel the sensation of falling. And as you fall, the world above you begins to get smaller and smaller until it fades away into a green, like gridded circuit pattern. And even that begins to get smaller and fade away into the void. Now, again, whether you're dead and experiencing the afterlife or not, I suppose we'll find out. For now, I'll drag you back up and your icon will be vanished. All right. Boop. Boop. Oh god, we're back to the creepy music.
Welcome back.
Boop. Well, it seems Atlas is gone.
No!
All right. That said, Valentine and Isaac, you did not run very fast. Oh, that's not what I wanted. But one of you ran faster than the other. So,
Carry me, Isaac.
Isaac, do you turn back as you hear screaming? Or do
I
you...
recognize the voice?
Well, you probably... Valentine, do you let out a shrill yell as you pounce to the ground?
I would yell out, I need an adult!
And I would spin around. I am an adult!
So, Isaac, as you turn around, you see one of these gremlins with a large spear and their tiny wings and very large maws, standing atop Valentine, ready to consume his flesh.
I stab it.
You go to stab at it?
Yeah?
Well, I mean, that is a thing that you can do, so I will take an agility fight roll from you. Boop, boop, boop.
My man coming to save me. Thank God.
So, you're stabbing at it, and... Like, do you just try to stab it once? How are you trying to stab this creature? It is mostly mouth and a little bit of eyes.
I would suppose the eyes.
Well, as you stab at it, you actually do manage to graze its eyes, which certainly upsets it. And it does get off of Val, but now it is coming to stab you. So, do you turn and book it from this tiny creature, or do you try to fight it?
Yeah, I suppose now is time for the running. It's no longer pinning anyone down.
At this point, you're very close to it. And it had just gotten off of Valentine, so I'll take a body athletics roll from you, and after that, you may as well give me an agility dodge.
As soon as that thing gets off of me, I would go to like kick it off just to try to help Isaac before scrambling to my feet.
Well then, Valentine, as an assisted roll, you can give me a agility fight as well.
Cool. Look at that. We got Wonder Twin powers.
Synchronized.
Well, sadly, this creature is fairly strong, so you try to kick it. However, you do see a spear penetrate Isaac in the back, and it begins to drag him down. Now, do you continue to try to fight and support your... Well, I wouldn't call him a friend. He's more just a person you met on the street that runs a cafe that you sort of know about. Do you try to assist him, or do you run off? Because your
I
kick...
also just saved his life.
So the thing is with my aspect and the fact that he saved my life, Valentine wouldn't just be, that kind of douche. So he's gonna be an idiot, and he's going to jump on the back of this creature and just like dig his hands into his eyes, just go for a ride, because he's like, leave my adult alone.
Demon orgy.
Well, it's funny you should say that, Isaac. For you see, as you two are fighting this creature, yes, it would be a stretch to say that you two are actually making progress against it. However, you're putting up the good fight. However, there's not just one of these creatures. There's actually a lot, killing a lot of people. And you two causing a scene like this instead of the casual running has brought more to you. So, once more, I am going to drag both of you away. Isaac, Valentine.
Yeah.
I don't mind being a Brazzer spokesman.
So, as the
Chrissy.
demon orgy commences and tons of these demons begin to flock to you to where there's just a pile of wing, maws, and blood, you both experience horrifying pain until your bodies both begin to run cold. You're fairly certain you're dying, and possibly even fairly certain that you're dead, as you both begin to fall, not together, mind you. Or rather, at the very least, when you fall, you don't see each other. But as you do, the world above you becomes very small. You even see what looks like your corpses as you fall away. However, the world becomes like a green-like circuit above you. And eventually, even that begins to fade away until you sink into the darkness.
I was born by it. I was molded by it.
You adopted it. I would say that if I could have, I would have like got on top of Isaac to help protect. That sucker helped me, so I would have helped him. But
Right.
I'm just saying,
okay.
he's missing an eye and his balance was thrown off. His depth perception is garbage.
It's just because we got swarmed that we lost, man.
Now,
He couldn't take us alone. Called for
back
the
to the
pack.
action. Boop, boop. And like that. Boop. Oh, there was one. Ravi,
Hello.
with your bitten leg, the creatures have seemingly ignored you long enough for you to stand outside the cafe's doors. And there seems to be a large clown-like man with swords on his back standing in front of the doors waiting for you.
I'll try to see if I can. Oh no, I'm crippled. I'll try to see if I can sneak around it.
Well, he's standing in front of the doors. However, as you approach, he does open the door for you and bows.
I don't know if I can trust it. Yeah, I'm already crippled and everyone seems to be dying around me anyways. I'll just walk to the door.
As you walk through the door, he ends up closing it behind you. However, he doesn't enter. And do you make your way to the back of the cafe where the coordinates show?
Yes, I do.
As you make your way back there, eventually your phone seems to pop open, and, well, yours truly ends up popping out and floating along. It's like, well, it's good to see at least one of you made it this far. Hello, Revy.
What do you want?
Well, I kind of wish this day had never come, but it has. So, I bid you farewell for now, and I'll see you in your new life. And
What?
with that, I'd snap my fingers, and the floor and walls around you would begin to crumble away, and you'd begin to fall into a dark abyss.
Oh my.
Now then, Atlas, Elise, Valentine, and Isaac, are you all still with me?
Are
Yep.
we?
Kind of.
Hi.
I'm only the soul of Valentine.
Now, your consciousnesses would eventually fade into the abyss. However, eventually, all of you would wake up. And as you do, you would be on a very dark black and white beach. However, we will end the session there.